The audit trail begins with a document I was given in English and a document I signed in Thai, and the gap between them is 27 years of lease security. I want to give you the audit trail in sequence, because the sequence is the evidence, and the evidence is what this account exists to present. Before the audit trail, I want to give you what it is like to live inside a property instrument you do not fully understand, because the living inside it is part of the honest account, and it has a specific quality that I want to describe accurately. For 15 months, from July 2021 when I moved into the house to September 2022 when Gunnar asked about the Thai document, I lived in the house with the full confidence of a man who believed he had 30 years of occupancy. The confidence produced a specific relationship with the house. I made the modifications I wanted to make to the kitchen. I planted a specific kind of tree in the garden that takes 5 years to mature. I bought furniture that was sized to the rooms rather than to a temporary occupancy, and I made the social investment in the South Coast community that a man makes when he expects to be somewhere for 30 years. These are the decisions of a man who knows his specification. I was making the decisions of a man who knew a specification that was not the correct one, and the decisions are all still there. The kitchen, the tree, the furniture, the community relationships. And they are the correct decisions for a man who intends to be here for 30 years, and who is now working to ensure that the lease matches that intention. The tree, at least, is committed. The audit trail begins with a document I was given in English and a document I signed in Thai, and the gap between them is 27 years of lease security. In June 2021, I paid 850,000 baht for a 30-year leasehold interest in a property on the south coast of Koh Samui, a 2-bedroom house on approximately 800 square meters of land, with a view of the Gulf of Thailand from the main living area that I had identified in 3 weeks of searching as the specific view I had come to Koh Samui to have access to. The agent who handled the transaction was a Thai man who operated a property brokerage in the Nathon area of Koh Samui, and who I will call Kun Arun. The lawyer who conducted the transaction was a Thai lawyer in Koh Samui, who Kun Arun recommended, and who I had no independent basis for evaluating, and who I used because Kun Arun had used him for other transactions, and I was new to the island and to the Thai property market, and I did not know the specific thing I needed to know, which was, always use an independent lawyer, not the agent's lawyer, not when you are paying 850,000 baht for a property instrument that will govern where you live for the following 3 decades. I want to add something about the agent's lawyer specifically, because the agent's lawyer is the mechanism that made the misrepresentation possible, and the mechanism deserves to be described clearly so that the next man can avoid it. The lawyer that Kun Arun recommended, I will not name him because the evidence for his specific role in the misrepresentation is not established to the standard I want to hold myself to before naming anyone, is a Thai lawyer who handles property transactions for Kun Arun's brokerage clients and who has a financial relationship with the brokerage through referral fees. The financial relationship is not unusual in the Thai property market. Agent referrals to lawyers and lawyers' referrals to agents are a standard feature of the transaction ecosystem. The financial relationship is also an independence problem. A lawyer who receives referrals from an agent is a lawyer whose continued referral flow depends on maintaining the agent's confidence. And a lawyer who tells a client that the agent's English language summary does not match the Thai registration document is a lawyer who will not be receiving further referrals from that agent. The agent's lawyer is not your lawyer. The agent's lawyer may be a competent professional in other respects. The agent's lawyer cannot be your independent advocate in a transaction where the agent's interests may diverge from yours. You need your own lawyer, found through a referral chain that does not pass through the agent. Always use an independent lawyer, not the agent's lawyer. Not when you are paying 850,000 baht for a property instrument that will govern where you live for the following 3 decades. The document I was given in English described the lease as a 30-year lease commencing June 2021 and running to June 2051. The document I signed in Thai, which the lawyer told me was the Thai registration of the same 30-year lease, was not the Thai registration of a 30-year lease. It was the registration of a 3-year lease with renewal options. The renewal options were discretionary on the part of the landlord. The renewal options required both parties to agree to renewal terms. The renewal options did not specify the terms of renewal in the event that the landlord wished to renegotiate the monthly rent or the overall lease conditions. The English document that had been prepared by Kun Arun's office contained no mention of the 3-year structure, the discretionary renewal options, or the landlord's right to renegotiate terms at each renewal. The English document described a 30-year lease. The Thai document was not a 30-year lease. My name is Frank. I am 65 years old, I am from Seattle, and I spent 27 years as a software engineer and later a systems architect at a technology company in the Pacific Northwest, before retiring in 2019 at 61. I want to give you the 27 years, because the 27 years are what produced the specific analytical failure I am going to describe, and the failure's relationship to the career is not ironic in the way that the actuary's failure is ironic. It is ironic in a different, perhaps more obvious way. A software engineer who becomes a systems architect spends their career building systems that do exactly what the specification says. The specification is the governing document. The specification is what the system must comply with. In software engineering, there is no version of a system that is correct by intention if it is incorrect by specification, because the system does what it does, and what it does is determined by what the specification says. I understood this. I had applied this understanding for 27 years. I arrived in Thailand in 2020, and I signed a property document without reading the specification. The Thai language lease that was the governing document, not the English summary that was a representation of that document. And the system I was now inside did exactly what its specification said, which was not what I had been told it would do. The system architecture lesson that 27 years of professional formation should have taught me, applied to the Koh Samui lease, was, read the specification before you commit to the system. I want to extend the architecture metaphor because it is more than a metaphor. It is the exact description of what happened. In software systems, there is a category of bug called a specification divergence. The implementation does what the specification says, but the specification was written incorrectly, and the incorrectly written specification produces an implementation that diverges from the designer's intention. The designer intended a 30-year lease. The specification, the Thai registration document, describes a 3-year renewable lease. The implementation, what the landlord is entitled to do, follows the specification, not the designer's intention. The specification divergence is the bug. The bug was introduced at the point when the English language summary was prepared with content that did not match the Thai registration document. The bug went undetected because I did not read the specification. I accepted a description of the specification from the party who prepared the description, and the description was wrong. In software engineering, this is called a requirements capture failure. The actual requirements were not captured in the documentation that the developer worked from. I was the developer. I worked from incorrect documentation. The system I built, the Koh Samui lease structure, runs according to the actual requirements, which are different from the requirements I thought I was building to. The correction requires patching the implementation, which in property law means either renegotiating the lease to match the original representation or pursuing a claim against the party who prepared the incorrect documentation. The system architecture lesson that 27 years of professional formation should have taught me, applied to the Koh Samui lease, was, read the specification before you commit to the system. I did not apply the lesson. The system is now running according to its specification. My name is Frank. I am 65 years old. I am from Seattle, and I spent 27 years as a software engineer and later a systems architect at a technology company in the Pacific Northwest, before retiring in 2019 at 61. I came to Thailand in 2020, to Koh Samui specifically, because the island appeared on the short list of 4 possible retirement locations that I had been maintaining since approximately 2017, when I had begun to take the retirement question seriously, and because my first visit in February 2020, before the world closed for approximately 18 months, had produced in me the specific conviction that Koh Samui was the correct location, and that the correct location was worth the specific patience required by the circumstances of 2020 and 2021 before international movement became straightforward again. I arrived back in Koh Samui in March 2021, and I found the property through Koh Samui in May, and I paid for it in June, and I moved in July. I want to give you the structure of the Thai 30-year leasehold, as it should work, before I give you how it failed to work in my case, because the structure is available and is not the problem. The misrepresentation of the structure is the problem, and the two things must be distinguished. The Thai 30-year leasehold is the instrument that Thai law provides for foreign national long-term property occupancy. A correctly structured 30-year leasehold is registered at the Land Department for a period of 30 years from the execution date, and the registration creates a legal right of occupancy that is binding on the landowner and on any successor landowner for the full 30-year period. The registration includes the specific term, 30 years, and the specific commencement date, and in a correctly structured instrument, there are no intermediate renewal requirements and no landlord discretion within the term. The landowner cannot cancel the lease within the 30 years. The tenant can enforce the occupancy right against the landowner and against any subsequent purchaser of the land. The maximum registration period is 30 years, and the instrument cannot extend beyond 30 years as a single registration, but a new registration can be entered into at the expiry of the first. This is the correct instrument. It is available. It is what most foreign buyers in Thailand who do their due diligence obtain. The 3-year with renewal structure is not the 30-year leasehold. It looks like the 30-year leasehold if you only see the English summary. It is something different in the Thai registration, and the something different is the risk. I want to give you what I knew and did not know about the Thai property market in June 2021, because the knowledge gap is the context for the decision I made. What I knew: foreigners cannot own land in Thailand, but can hold a leasehold interest for a maximum of 30 years as registered at the Land Department. The 30-year leasehold is the standard long-term property instrument for foreign buyers in Thailand, and it is the instrument that most property transactions involving foreign buyers in tourist areas are structured around. What I did not know: the registered lease must be in Thai, and the English language summary or translation is not the legal document, and the English document may describe the lease in terms that do not accurately reflect the Thai registration. I did not know this because I had not engaged a lawyer before I engaged Koh Samui, and by the time I was looking at the property, I had built a relationship with Koh Samui that produced the specific trust that agent relationships produce over weeks of searching, and the trust produced the reliance on the agent's lawyer that the trust is designed to produce. The trust was not warranted. The lawyer was not independent. The English document was not the specification. I arrived back in Koh Samui in March 2021, and I found the property through Koh Samui in May, and I paid for it in June, and I moved in July. I should give you the audit trail in its full reconstruction, because the reconstruction is what the 3 years since June 2021 have produced, and the reconstruction is what I have to give you. I want to give you the property search and the relationship with Koh Samui that preceded the transaction, because the relationship is the mechanism that produced the trust, and the trust is what allowed the misrepresentation to succeed. I found Koh Samui through a Google search for property agents on Koh Samui, a reasonable starting point, the same starting point that most foreign buyers arriving on a Thai island without prior contacts would use. He had a well-designed website. He had reviews. He spoke excellent English, which is both a practical asset in a property search and a social asset that produces the rapid relationship building that excellent English enables when the buyer is an English speaker operating in a foreign language environment. I spent 3 weeks with Koh Samui looking at properties on the island. He showed me 7. He was knowledgeable about each one. He was patient when I had questions. He did not pressure me. When I identified the South Coast property as the one I wanted, He handled the negotiation with the landlord professionally and produced a result that was below the asking price by approximately 80,000 baht. By the time we arrived at the transaction itself, I had spent 3 weeks building a working relationship with a professional who had performed well in the role I was relying on him to perform, and the specific trust that 3 weeks of good professional performance produces is real and is the mechanism through which the misrepresentation succeeded. I did not trust Koh Samui because I was naive. I trusted him because he had given me 3 weeks of correct professional performance. The correct professional performance produced the incorrect referral to the agent's lawyer, and the incorrect reliance on the agent's English language summary. These are the specific chain links that produce the outcome. I should give you the audit trail in its full reconstruction. The first document in the trail, the English language summary that Koh Samui's office prepared, which described the property, the lease term, and the consideration. The lease term as described, 30 years from the date of execution. No mention of any intermediate renewal points or of any landlord discretion within the lease period. The second document, the actual Thai language lease, registered at the Koh Samui Land Department in June 2021. The Thai language lease, as reviewed by the independent Thai property lawyer I engaged in September 2022, 15 months after I moved in, and translated specifically for this purpose, runs as follows. Initial term of 3 years from execution date, renewable at the end of each 3-year period subject to mutual agreement between the parties, with the rent and the specific terms of each renewal period to be negotiated in good faith between the parties at the time of each renewal. The phrase 30 years does not appear in the Thai language lease. The phrase 30 years appears only in the English language summary that was not the legal document. I want to describe how I discovered the discrepancy, because the discovering is part of the audit trail, and the discovering is, in retrospect, something I should have done in June 2021 and not in September 2022. I want to give you the Dutch civil engineer more fully, because he is the most important person in this story, and he deserves a proper account. Gunnar is 67, from Rotterdam, and he has been on Koh Samui for 8 years. He worked in civil engineering for the Port Authority in Rotterdam for 33 years and came to Koh Samui in 2016 after his wife died, which is a context he shared with me in a way that was matter-of-fact rather than plaintive, and which I respected. He owns a house on the same South Coast road I am on, approximately 3 kilometers north of my property, and he owns it as a 30-year leasehold that he had independently reviewed by 2 lawyers before signing. Not because he was suspicious of his agent, but because his professional formation, which involved infrastructure contracts worth hundreds of millions of euros, produced in him the automatic reflex of independent review of governing documents. The independent review in 2016 found nothing unusual in his lease, which was a genuine 30-year lease correctly registered. The independent review also, in 2016, produced for Gunnar a body of knowledge about how Thai leasehold documents are structured and what the correct features look like, and it was this knowledge, the knowledge of what a correctly structured 30-year lease should contain, that produced the expression on his face in September 2022 when he asked me whether I had had the Thai version reviewed independently. He had seen, in 8 years on the island, at least 3 other cases of buyers who had received English language summaries that did not accurately describe the Thai language registration, and all 3 had been in transactions involving the same area's property brokers. He had not known about Koh Samui specifically. He was not surprised when I named the brokerage. I want to describe how I discovered the discrepancy, because the discovering is part of the audit trail. In the 3rd week of September 2022, I had a conversation with Gunnar, a retired Dutch civil engineer who had been on the island for 8 years, who asked me whether I had read the Thai version of my lease. I said I had not read it myself, but that my lawyer had reviewed it at the time of the transaction. He said, "The lawyer Koh Samui recommended?" I said yes. He said, "Have you had anyone else look at it?" I said, "I hadn't seen any reason to." He looked at me with an expression that I have since come to understand as the expression of a man who has recently heard the same story about the same agent, but who does not want to be the bearer of the specific news he is about to become the bearer of. He said, "You should have someone else look at it." The independent review took 2 weeks and cost 25,000 baht, and at the end of 2 weeks the lawyer, a woman named Koh Samui, who had a postgraduate qualification in property law from Chiang Mai University, and who I located through a referral chain that did not involve Koh Samui, delivered a 4-page summary that contained the information I have described. The Thai language lease was a 3-year lease with discretionary renewal. The English language summary was a misrepresentation of the Thai language lease. The misrepresentation was either a mistake in the English document preparation or a deliberate misrepresentation. Koh Samui said she could not determine which from the documents alone. She said she had seen similar structures before in Koh Samui property transactions involving foreign buyers who did not read or verify the Thai language registration document. She said the frequency with which she had seen it suggested the structure was not always accidental. I want to give you what the 3-year structure means in practical terms, because the practical terms are the financial exposure that the structure creates. Let me give you the mathematics of the 3-year structure, because the mathematics is what I have been running since September 2022, and the mathematics is what the recording should present precisely. In June 2024, the first 3-year period ends. If the landlord offers renewal on the original terms, the same annual equivalent cost as the original lease consideration, prorated, the situation is recoverable. I continue to occupy the property under the same economic arrangement, and the question becomes whether the renewal will be offered again in June 2027 and June 2030, and so on, for the remaining 24 years of the 30-year period I believed I had purchased. If the landlord offers renewal at an increased rent, I am in a negotiating position that the Thai language lease specifies as good faith negotiation, which is not a defined standard and which does not protect me against a significant increase. If the landlord declines to renew, I am entitled to a pro-rated return of the consideration for the periods not yet run, which in June 2024 represents 2/3 of the 850,000 baht I paid, or approximately 567,000 baht, minus whatever the transaction costs and legal costs of the unwinding are. 567,000 baht returned in June 2024 is not the 30-year lease I paid for in June 2021. It is 3 years of occupancy at a total cost of 283,000 baht, which is a reasonable cost for 3 years of occupancy on Koh Samui's south coast, but which is not an 850,000 baht investment in a 30-year instrument. The architecture of the instrument I signed produced the 283,000 baht outcome as the worst case. I thought the instrument had no worst case. I was wrong. I want to give you what the 3-year structure means in practical terms, because the practical terms are the financial exposure that the structure creates. In June 2024, 3 years after the lease execution, the landlord is entitled to renegotiate the terms of the renewal. The landlord may offer to renew on the original terms. The landlord may offer to renew at a higher monthly rent. The lease as registered does not specify a fixed rent, but a negotiated rent, and the negotiated rent at renewal may not be the rent agreed at execution. The landlord may choose not to renew. If the landlord chooses not to renew, the lease ends, and I vacate the property, and I recover whatever the registered lease specifies as my exit entitlement, which is a return of the unearned portion of the lease consideration on a pro-rated basis. 850,000 baht, pro-rated over 3 years, gives me a recovery of the 2/3 of the consideration, representing the second and third periods, if those periods are not honored, which is not how I understood the instrument when I paid 850,000 baht in June 2021. What I have done since September 2022, when the audit trail produced this picture, is the following. I engaged Koh Samui on a continuing basis to advise me on my options. I have documented the discrepancy between the English summary and the Thai registration, and I have filed a complaint with the Koh Samui Land Authority regarding the misrepresentation in the English document. The complaint is pending. I want to give you the legal situation in more detail, because the legal situation is where this story is currently situated and the detail is honest. The Land Authority complaint was filed in November 2022 and was accepted for review. The Land Authority review process on Koh Samui is not rapid. I was informed in March 2023 that the review was ongoing and that I would be notified of a determination, and I have not yet received the determination as of the date of this recording. The litigation specialist in Surat Thani, his name is Koh Samui, and he has been practicing property litigation for 18 years, and who came to me through a referral from Koh Araya, has reviewed the case and assessed that the strongest grounds for a claim against Koh Arun's brokerage rest on the pattern of similar transactions rather than on my individual case alone, because the individual case can be characterized as an error in the English document preparation, rather than a deliberate misrepresentation, while the pattern across multiple transactions is harder to characterize as sequential error. The two buyers who have come forward to date have provided their documentation. Koh Samui has reviewed it. Both cases involve the same structure. English document describes a 30-year lease. Thai registration shows a 3-year initial period with discretionary renewal. Transaction processed through Koh Arun's brokerage. He has assessed the pattern as sufficient to file, but has recommended waiting for 2 more confirmations before doing so, on the basis that a 4-case pattern with consistent features is substantially stronger than a 2-case pattern. I continue to maintain the forum thread that produced the first 2 contacts. The thread title is clear about what it is looking for. What I have done since September 2022, when the audit trail produced this picture, is the following. I engaged Koh Araya on a continuing basis to advise me on my options. I have also engaged a property litigation specialist in Surat Thani, who has reviewed the case and who has advised that the misrepresentation in the English summary, combined with evidence that the same structure has been used in other Koh Arun transactions, constitutes a pattern that may support a claim for damages against Koh Arun's brokerage. The claim is not yet filed. The filing decision is pending the outcome of the Land Authority complaint and the further collection of evidence from other buyers who have been in comparable transactions with Koh Arun. There are, as of the date of this recording, 2 other buyers who have contacted me after learning of my situation through the island's Expat network and who have described comparable discrepancies in their own transactions. The network is the mechanism by which this kind of evidence accumulates. I am asking anyone who has purchased a leasehold property through Koh Arun's brokerage on Koh Samui to contact the Expat forum I participate in with the details of their transaction, because the pattern documentation is what gives the legal case its weight. I want to give you the 2 other buyers in the specific way that they matter to this recording, which is as evidence of a pattern rather than as individual cases. The first is a British woman, 61, who purchased a leasehold property through Koh Arun's brokerage in 2019, 2 years before my transaction, and who discovered, when she attempted to sublet the property in 2022, and was informed by the landlord that subletting required the landlord's consent under the Thai registration, that her lease was similarly structured as a 3-year initial period with discretionary renewal. She had paid approximately 700,000 baht for what she was told was a 25-year lease. She had not had the Thai document independently reviewed. She had used the lawyer Koh Arun recommended. The English summary of her lease described it as a 25-year lease. The Thai registration was a 3-year initial period with discretionary renewal. The pattern is identical to mine and was executed 2 years earlier. The subletting incident was her version of Gunnar's question, the moment when the specification's actual content became visible through a demand that the specification could not accommodate. The second is an American man, 68, from Oregon, who purchased in 2020 through the same brokerage and who discovered the 3-year structure when he asked his own lawyer to review the lease in preparation for what he intended to be a lease extension application, and who found that there was no extension provision in the Thai registration because the initial period had not yet run. He had paid 680,000 baht for what he believed was a 30-year lease from 2020. 3 buyers, 3 similar structures, same brokerage. The pattern is the pattern. The case is the case. There are, as of the date of this recording, 2 other buyers who have contacted me through the island's Expat network. The network is the mechanism by which this kind of evidence accumulates. I want to give you the specific lesson from this audit trail before I give you where I am now, because the lesson is the most transferable thing this recording produces. The lesson is one sentence. You must read the Thai language document, not the English summary. I want to give you the lesson in the form of the 5 steps I would now take before any Thai property transaction. Before the 5 steps, I want to give you the specific thing Kun Araya said about the frequency of this pattern, because it is the most useful sentence in the audit trail, and it is the sentence that converted my individual problem into a pattern problem. She said she had seen similar structures before in Koh Samui property transactions involving foreign buyers who did not read or verify the Thai language registration document, and the frequency with which she had seen it suggested the structure was not always accidental. I asked her, how often? She said, in the past 5 years, she had been engaged by foreign buyers to review their lease documents after the fact, after the transaction had completed, and usually after something had prompted them to look more carefully, on 17 occasions. Of the 17 cases, 14 involved properties in the Nathon to Mae Nam corridor of Koh Samui's north and northwest coast. Of the 14, 8 involved leases where the English language summary described terms that did not match the Thai registration. All 8 had been agent-mediated transactions. 3 of the 8 agents were the same agent. She did not name the agents in our first conversation, citing professional caution. After I had established the pattern more formally, and after the other 2 buyers had come forward, she confirmed that Kun Arun's brokerage was one of the 3. The frequency is not a coincidence frequency. The frequency is a pattern frequency. I want to give you the lesson in the form of the 5 steps I would now take before any Thai property transaction, because the 5 steps are more useful than the 1 sentence, and the 1 sentence is still true but insufficient. Step 1. Hire a lawyer before you hire an agent, or at minimum before you commit to a property. The lawyer must have no relationship with the agent, and must not be the lawyer the agent recommends. The referral chain for finding a Thai property lawyer should not pass through the agent's office. Step 2. Verify that the lawyer you hire will review the Thai language registration document, not only the English summary. Ask explicitly, will you review the Thai registration document as it will be filed at the land department, not the English language translation prepared by the vendor's agent? The answer must be yes, or you need a different lawyer. Step 3. Confirm the lease structure. Ask the lawyer to confirm explicitly, what is the initial lease period? Is there a renewal requirement? Who controls the renewal decision? What are the terms on which renewal can be refused? These questions should produce a clear answer for a 30-year lease. The initial period is 30 years, and there is no intermediate renewal requirement, and a different answer for a 3-year with options structure. Step 4. Cross-reference the English summary against the Thai registration document and ask the lawyer to identify any discrepancies between them. The discrepancies are what you need to know. Step 5. Pay for the independent review. It costs between 15,000 and 30,000 baht for a competent Thai property lawyer. This is between 1 and 4% of any property transaction of significance. It is the cheapest insurance in the Thai property market for a foreign buyer who cannot read the governing documents in their original language. I want to give you the specific lesson from this audit trail before I give you where I am now, because the lesson is the most transferable thing this recording produces. The lesson is one sentence. You must read the Thai language document, not the English summary. The English summary is not the legal document. The English summary may be an accurate description of the legal document, and in most transactions it probably is. The English summary may also be an inaccurate description of the legal document, either through error or through design, and in the specific category of transaction I am describing, a foreign buyer of a Thai leasehold property who does not speak Thai and who uses the agent's recommended lawyer rather than an independent lawyer, the risk of inaccuracy is elevated. The Thai language document registered at the Land Department is the legal document. It is the document that governs your rights. If you do not read it, you do not know your rights. If you do not read it yourself, because you do not read Thai, you hire an independent lawyer who reads Thai and who has no relationship with the agent and who will tell you what the document actually says. The independent review costs between 15,000 and 30,000 baht. The property I purchased cost 850,000. The independent review is 3% of the transaction value. The failure to commission it has cost me, in potential exposure, the security of 27 years of the lease I believed I had. I am on Koh Samui. The house is still my house, for now. We are in the second year of the first 3-year period, and the June 2024 renewal date is approaching, and I do not know whether the landlord will offer to renew on the original terms or will use the renewal to renegotiate. I want to give you what Koh Samui is before I give you where I am with the legal situation. Because the island is the place I chose and the place I am staying, and the legal situation is a problem I am solving rather than the definition of the experience. I chose Koh Samui because the Gulf of Thailand coast of the island, the east and southeast, has the specific combination of calm water, tropical vegetation, and the accessibility of a town infrastructure, a hospital, an international airport, a reasonable selection of the things that a retired American software architect needs to sustain daily life, that the research process produced as the correct combination. I have been right about the island in the way that you are right about a place when you spend 3 years living in it and continue to want to live in it rather than looking for where to go next. The south coast where I am is quieter than the north, which is the tourist-heavy part with the beach club infrastructure that I did not want to be adjacent to. My neighborhood has a small market that operates on Tuesday and Friday mornings, a coffee place that has been there for 12 years, a community of expats who have been on the island long enough to know what they are talking about. The Dutch civil engineer, his name is Gunnar, is the most useful person in that community and the person who set the audit trail in motion. The debt I owe him is the debt that comes from being told something uncomfortable that turned out to be essential. I want to give you what the expat community on Koh Samui's south coast looks like, because the community is part of the recovery, and the recovery matters for the honest account. There are approximately 30 people I interact with on a reasonably regular basis, of various nationalities and backgrounds, and the community has the specific character of a community that has self-selected for the quieter part of a Thai island. People who came here having thought about it, and who have been here long enough to have formed opinions about their decision that they are willing to share with a degree of honesty. The honesty is the useful thing. Gunnar is the most honest person in the community, in the specific way of a man who has seen enough of the island's property market to have formed accurate opinions, and who does not soften them for social comfort. He introduced me to 2 other people who had had bad property experiences, not through Kun Arun, but comparable situations, and whose knowledge of the island's legal infrastructure gave me the starting point for the independent review. Without Gunnar, I might still be in the situation of not knowing what the specification says. The situation I am in now, knowing the specification and working to correct it, is better than the alternative, even though the alternative would have been more comfortable for a longer period. The comfort of not knowing the specification is the comfort of a system running incorrectly without anyone checking the logs. I have checked the logs. I know what the system is doing. The Dutch civil engineer, his name is Gunnar, is the most useful person in that community and the person who set the audit trail in motion. I am on Koh Samui. The house is still my house, for now. The June 2024 renewal date is approaching. What I know is what the document says, which is not what I thought the document said when I signed it, and the knowing is something I had to pay 25,000 baht and 15 months to acquire. I have the view from the main living area. The Gulf of Thailand is the same color it was when I first identified it as the specific view I had come to Koh Samui to have access to. The view is not contingent on the lease structure. The lease structure is what it is, and I am working on it, and I am not leaving the island while I am working on it, and the legal case may or may not produce a result, and the June 2024 renewal will produce the information I need about the landlord's intentions, and I will make decisions from the information rather than from the assumption I made in June 2021 when I did not read the Thai document and trusted the English summary and believed I had 30 years. I want to give you what the June 2024 renewal produces, to the extent that I know it as of the date of this recording. I have had a conversation with the landlord, through Kun Araya as intermediary, in which I informed him that I was aware of the 3-year structure in the Thai registration document, and that I would be expecting a renewal offer consistent with the terms of the original transaction, as understood by both parties. The landlord's response was that he was aware of the registration's terms and that he would make an offer in due course. The response did not confirm the terms. It also did not indicate a refusal. I am in the specific situation of a man who has correctly identified a problem, documented it, and engaged appropriate professional support, and who is now waiting for the problem's next development. This is the audit trail's current state. The state is not comfortable. It is the correct state for a man who now knows his specification. The Gulf of Thailand is the same color it was in June 2021. I found the correct view. I am not leaving it. The audit is ongoing. The system is running according to its specification. The specification is what I am correcting, and the correction is possible, and I am doing it. The audit trail is not yet complete. This recording is an interim filing. The specification divergence has been identified. The documentation has been assembled. The complaints have been filed. The other buyers have been found. The landlord has been informed. The June 2024 renewal is approaching. The legal team is in place. The system is not running as designed, and the correction is in progress, and the correction requires patience, and patience is what a retired software engineer has in specific supply when he understands what the system is doing and why. The kitchen has been modified. The tree is planted, and will take 5 years to mature, and I will be here when it matures. The community is known. The view is correct. I am here. The system will be corrected, and the correction will be filed, and I will be there for the filing, and the Gulf of Thailand will still be the color it was when I chose it. The specification is being corrected. This is the interim filing. The final filing will follow when the June 2024 renewal produces its result, and I will file it on the same forum, and the filing will be complete at that point, and the audit trail will be closed.